When you're American, it's not the real American. When a sign of fairness turns to a myth. When Americans in a specific class are treated differently, what will you do? Origin of redneck. In fact, there are several possible origins of redneck. However, according to Etymology Online, the term redneck is fairly used to refer to farmers whose neck got burned red by the sun. In 1830, the meaning has shifted the same way as cracker, which means a poor, usually southern white. In 1904, the word redneck appeared again in American context, carrying the meaning as an uncouth countryman. Redneck mostly lives in the southern United States, which usually are farming areas, including Mississippi, Louisiana, New Mexico, Alabama, Arkansas, Oklahoma, or South Carolina. Number 1. They usually wear practical clothes like denim and flannel, which are not stylish ones. Number 2. Boots and trucker caps are needed. Cowboy hats are sometimes great. Number 3. Camel print is their favorite fashion. Number 4. They won't let their hair get in the way. For women, they usually keep their hair in tight ponytail. For men, they are likely to keep that hair high and tight. Facial hair is often trimmed into a goatee or with long sideburns, but often very short. And number 5, John Deere, Wrangler, and Carhartt are the brands which closely associated with redneck. We are going to show you how redneck says, even though a boy in the following clip is not a real redneck, but an Asian boy, his actions say much more than redneck itself.
Let's talk about hunt. Now, during hunt season, I go back down in the creek, cause that's where all the critters are. And I hunt out deers, birds, squirrels, birds, everything else. Even worms.
A Harvard dialect survey revealed that pronunciation and word choices say a lot about where a person grew up or where they currently live. So, that redneck is like farmers who mostly live in the South is what can reflect the way they live and the way they say. They live in the countryside in the south of United States, so they speak in southern accent. But how do our interviewees really think about redneck?
I'm living here, but I'm from the U.S. and Hawaii is my home.
Do you know the term redneck?
Yes, I do. Being from the States, it's a term that's used there.
California.
California. Do you know the word redneck?
Yes, redneck. Like this. Redneck.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands.
Do you know the term redneck?
Yeah, I know it.
Person from the countryside, more or less. Could be from an area also, redneck country. Sometimes it's the South, sometimes the Midwest, depending on where you are.
There's somebody that are low class.
Stupid, uneducated, undereducated, likes to drink whiskey and rye. Good old boys drinking whiskey and rye, this'll be the day that I die.
People living in the south of the United States, usually on a farm, they're called rednecks because they're always burnt in the neck, I guess.
They like country music. They live out west. They like to hunt and fish.
It's been around a long time. It's used in some areas, yes.
Yeah, like redneck is from Isang, Sisaket, Buriram, Surin, Ubon.
Yeah, it's kind of generalizing. I think it still kind of exists, so yeah, you can still use it.
I guess it's old-fashioned. If I know it, I'm old.
For me, it's neutral, but some people might consider it offensive if they're from a particular region where it's used, or they consider themselves not being one, or they look at the term as being looking down on a person, uneducated, no country, backward, those kinds of things.
Offensive.
Offensive.
Yes.
Why?
But not to a redneck, because redneck's stupid and redneck doesn't know offensive. Nothing offends a redneck.
Except
Yeah, nothing offends a redneck.
Not really, because we don't really have that kind of people in the Netherlands. Maybe a bit, but I don't know a Dutch word for it. Yeah, we sometimes use the English word, but then we're talking about American people. Yeah, like to joke a bit. It's a bit offensive, I think. So yeah, you can joke about it, but it's maybe a bit generalizing and not very nice.
Yeah, it's offensive. Well, because it classifies people as low class, and that would be offensive.
Would you use this term for calling other people?
No.
As redneck?
Just my own personality and the way I look at other people. I would not call another person a redneck. I think it's impolite. For me, it would be impolite.
Yeah. No, you talk about people, certain class of people.
No, of course not.
No, I wouldn't say that because, well, it's kind of offensive. I don't think it's very nice to call someone a redneck. Yeah, but only in a funny way. Yeah, you don't try to use it too much.
As we mentioned before, redneck originally means a working class who works harder until neck becomes red like farmers. However, nowadays, redneck turns to be a derogatory word which means uneducated, rough, poor and aggressive people. In Cambridge Dictionary, it defines redneck as a poor white person without education, especially one living in the countryside in the southern United States. Longman's Dictionary defines redneck as a person who lives in the country area of the United States, is uneducated, and has strong unreasonable opinions, used in order to show disapproval. Merriam-Webster also describes redneck as a white person who lives in a small town or in the country, especially in the southern United States, who typically has a working-class job and who is seen by others as being uneducated and having opinions and attitudes that are offensive. We can conclude that those interviewees who may have not experienced in the redneck regard a redneck as not very nice people, and they have prejudice against redneck. Although some say that the term redneck is neutral, that they wouldn't call other people as redneck can imply that they are not 100% neutral towards redneck.
The term redneck has been a general idea for as long as anyone can remember, and is a widely held misconception. Rednecks are the same as regular people, just with a different mindset. For example, while most people would give up when given the task of fixing the mirror that got knocked off a new truck, a redneck hits Walmart, gets a roll of duct tape, and fixes it for under $5. Sure, it doesn't look good, but if it works, it will do just fine. In addition, they appreciate the outdoors. Along with rural living comes rural entertainment. Rednecks typically work outside all day and stay outside when it's time to have fun. Hunting, fishing, hiking, and gardening are very common redneck hobbies. And the last but not least, rednecks are typically not the foremen. They are the workers, the blue collar, or salt-of-the-earth types. Farming, auto mechanic, raising livestock, carpentry, construction, and masonry are commonly thought of as being redneck types of job. They work with their hands for a living. According to the rednecks we have followed up on the social media, we asked them about their opinion on this term. We have found that it is not so offensive, and they are even proud of it. One of them is an American woman. She told us that she is a redneck, and she gave us a clarification of a redneck in a neutral term. She said a redneck usually wears cowboy boots and jeans. They would rather hunt and fish than go shopping. And of course, they would rather drink beer than wine. She added that a redneck figures the way out of fixing things mostly by a duct tape. Moreover, she has a redneck family and she is proud of it. And of course, by being in a redneck society, she can do anything different from other people, but it is still fun. like shooting guns at the targets instead of having an Easter egg hunt in Easter. So now, let's see if what she said is true or not. Beers? Checked. Guns? Checked. Hunting? Checked. And fishing? Checked. From this redneck woman, we have learned that this term is not always offensive, because there are some people who know that they are rednecks and they don't feel bad or take it as a derogatory term. There is another example we found on the social media. He is an American man from Ohio. He is a redneck, and he said that the term redneck has become as a term of endearment. It means people who are hardworking, especially outdoor work. They usually like beers, guns, and hanging out with their friends telling old hunting or fishing stories. They are good people who don't always conform to what their conservative neighbors like. See, rednecks are not bad people. Or if you still don't believe what rednecks said about themselves, listen to some people who have been hanging out with the redneck and see what they think about these people.
They're good people. Rednecks are not bad people. They may be what in Thailand might be considered village people or live up country. They may be different, but they're not uneducated. The only people that would say that, it would be the same way here where Bangkok people look down on people up country, right? In America, they look down on those people because they're different. They have very good hearts. They're not conceited. They're not stuck up.
I think they are hardworking too.
They're very hardworking, and they don't, they're drink beer and whatever, but just because they're not educated in the best schools does not mean they're not educated.
You find this term quite offensive or not?
It's not a politically correct term, but it is a term that describes people. A redneck is not offended by someone calling them a redneck. A redneck likes car races, that kind of thing. NASCAR? They love NASCAR. They love NASCAR, sure. If you wanted a visual of who are rednecks, if you look at a NASCAR race, they are what people would consider rednecks. But they're good people.
In conclusion, we can see that the interviewees who are redneck themselves or have experience in it will be positive towards a redneck. A redneck is good, hardworking, easygoing, and straightforward. Some people might think that they are aggressive, but they like to tell the others what they feel and what they want. So rednecks are just a subculture which may have a different lifestyle from regular people, but they don't harm anybody. Moreover, they are outgoing and fun to hang out with.
As you can see, redneck is one of social discriminations in America, which seems to prioritize equality and fairness. Although redneck is just a moderate specific group of people in the United States, they make our America's slogans a myth. The reason is that not all Americans will respect the minority of society. There are both people who accept the minority and who look down on them. In fact, whether the term redneck is offensive or not, it depends on how people think. Is redneck really bad people? Is the term redneck offensive? Is it a kind of discrimination? The only thing that matters is the way you think, as supported by Santosh Kaura said. We are addicted to our thoughts. We cannot change anything if we cannot change our thinking.